Today we have our workshop in live, and I will show you how I made my knitted sweater Juliana. Now here in Germany is 11 and 28 minutes, 11 y 28 del día. Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Maricita Colors in English. Today I will show you how I made my knitted sweater Juliana. Yesterday I made the sweater Madrid. This is a little pattern with the net stitch, mesh stitch. Yesterday you can find this workshop that I made. I will let you to both patterns from my sweater Madrid and my knitted sweater Juliana. I will let you on the comments and on the description box when I finish this workshop. The knitted sweater Juliana, I made 2 pieces the same, with the same number of stitches. My sweater has not increases or decreases. I use approximately 300 grams or 300 grams of yarn. I use the needles number 6,50 millimeters. The yarn that I use for my knitted sweater Juliana is this. Is like ribbon. For this I use the needle number 6,50 millimeters. Is this the yarn? I will let you the pattern on the comments and on the description box. Today I will make a pattern, knitted pattern. What more, the size that I made in my channel, the sweater Juliana, is a large size. Thank you for your like. In the video, I let you this table, the fantasy stitch is only knit stitch that I made double. The long was 39 centimeters. I let open the shoulder or the arm 22 centimeters from the shoulder. The waistband is 38 centimeters, must be for a large size 50 centimeters approximately, but is a little stretch. So when we use the sweater, it's almost 52 centimeters. It's very, the rib stitch is serred or very stretch. The size was 42 centimeters. Here up was approximately 50 centimeters. I let open the neck 26 centimeters. I close the shoulders, every shoulder 12 centimeters. And for the armhole, I let 22 centimeters. Look, this pattern I will let you on the comments and on the description box. Today I will show you how I made this nice sweater. Juliana is the name. Before I begin my workshop, I want to invite you to subscribe here on my channel, Maricita Colors in English. It's total free. Remember, activate the bell to receive the post when I have a new video here on my channel. So the sweater I made it with needle 6,50 50 millimeters and 300 grams of this ribbon yarn. But you can do it with all the yarns. First, you must make one little pattern for to know how many centimeters or inches make your yarn. Today I will use another needles, the number 4 millimeters, and we will see how many centimeters make our little pattern. Thank you to be here. I invite you to subscribe and activate the bell, and you can find me too on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. There you can watch more videos, more patterns free that I have here on my channel. I have almost 200 patterns free. Sweaters, beanie hats, vests, boleros, ponchos, and so on. Look, I will use for this little pattern, I will use this yarn of cotton. In the etiquette say that I can use needles between 3 and 4, and we will see how is with this number 4 millimeters. My pattern, my sweater has in the waistband 80 stitches, but remember, 80 stitches with the needle 6,50 millimeters. Here I will make a little pattern. Thank you for your like. Muchas gracias. I will show you the stitches that I use to make my sweater Juliana. But the pattern I would let you hear on the comments and on the description box when we finish our workshop. How I calculate the yarn for that we make the stitches on the needle. Has a name special that you say for make the stitches. How is this name? Cast on? Can be? Hola, Aaron. Thank you to be here. Thank you for your like. Muchas gracias. I will make a little pattern with 20 stitches, 20 puntos en español. You know, here in my channel, on my channel, you will learn a little Spanish too. I come from Peru, but actually I live in Germany. So I can confuse sometimes the words, but you can write me and tell me. Thank you to be here. So for that I have 20 stitches, for that I make, I will calculate and I will make 20 times the yarn on my needle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. If you want 100 stitches, you must make 100 times the yarn like this. But first, you must make the little pattern for to know how many stitches you need to make, by example, the 50 centimeters of the waistband. You must make 2 pieces the same, the front and the back of our sweater. When we calculate, we cut here and we let free all the yarn. And from here, from this yarn that we calculate, I will make the 20 stitches. I made this knitted sweater today because yesterday in the workshop, one of a lady told me that she wants watch knitted sweater. Okay, we begin. I will use the needle 4 millimeters, agujas en español. From here, I will open, we help us with the 2 fingers, we insert, and we bring to the front, and from the left to the right on the needle. Not so tight, not so loose. We have 2 stitches. 2 puntos. Again, now it's easier. To the front, left, right, and on the needle. Ich habe gesehen, this is German. I saw a lot of techniques to make the cast on, the stitches on the needle. But this I learned in my land, in my country, in Peru. I come from the Incas country. I don't know if you know Peru, where is Machu Picchu. I come from Lima. Lima is the capital from Peru. Okay. Muchas gracias for your like. Thank you for your like. Again, we bring left, right, and on the needle. Not so tight, not so loose, remember. Here is a little canot. I don't know where come from, but we are in life. In life, all can pass. Todo puede pasar en español. Okay, we continuing. Izquierda, I will say in Spanish for that you learn to the Spanish. Izquierda, derecha, al centro. Izquierda, derecha, a la aguja. Needle, aguja. Izquierda, derecha, aguja. Izquierda, derecha, a la aguja. Important is that you make with your yarn and your needles a little pattern, because sometimes you make the same stitches that I make my patterns, but remember that your yarn or your needles maybe are not the same, and for this can be another size. We count, contamos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 puntos. 22. We can let with 22 stitches. We must use an even number. I think 22 is an even number. En español, número par. 22, 24, 40, 80, like my sweater, 100, 200. This is a number par. En español, número par. I think in English is even number. Okay, we have 22 for this little pattern. Thank you for your like. Now, my sweater, in the waistband, I use the rib stitch, el punto elástico en español. How is the rib stitch? The rib stitch is the knit and the pull. Knit and pull and repeat. This is the stretch, is a stretch stitch. How we make the first knit stitch? Look, this is the first stitch. We must have careful. We insert into the needle or into the stitch, and we bring the yarn to the front between the both needles. Look. We back the needle, and this is the first knit stitch, look. And this goes out. This is the first. We can pull a little the yarn into the front, and we insert the needle from the right to the left. Right to left. De derecha a izquierda. Left, izquierda. The yarn involves the needle and back, and we have now the new stitch. El nuevo punto. And this goes out. Again, the yarn into the back. we make the knit, el punto derecho en español, knit, punto derecho, yarn here to the front. Look, this is the yarn and this is the new stitch. The purl, punto revés en español, revés, yarn into the back, we make the front, the knit, yarn into the front, and we make the purl stitch. Punto derecho and punto revés. The purl stitch is like a knot. You will see better when we finish and when we make 2 rows, okay? One knit. Thank you for your like. I will read your message, your comment when I finish the first row. Row hilera, yarn hilo, cotton, algodón, punto, stitch. You will learn knitting, crochet, sew, and Spanish too. I have my channel in Spanish and you can find a lot of patterns free. And you can write me because now YouTube make the subtitles in a lot of language. So you can watch and look if your videos have, if your TV or in your computer, you can watch my videos in English. This will be nice that you write me and tell me, please. Okay, I make the knit and now we will make the last stitch is the purl stitch. We bring the yarn to the front and the last stitch, look, from right to left, yarn involved, we back the needle and we have the new stitch and this goes out. You know, I love knitting because I always watch my mama in Peru that she makes sweaters for us, vest, blankets, and I love to see how my mama make this knitting. And I learned maybe when I was 7, 8 years, my mama teach me. So this is the technique from my mama. Un besito to my mama. One hug to my mama in Lima, Peru. My mama calls Luis. Thank you. Uy, 17 likes. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Okay, I will read. Sashin Dark, thank you for this lesson. You are awesome. Oh, muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Crochet Comcha. Buen día. Feliz día. Dejando mi like. Thank you, my dear Crochet Comcha. Emina Panzo. She says, hello. I saw too that from this year, all my videos in live in Spanish, you can change the subtitles in your language. I saw in Japanese, in English, Französisch, Italianisch, and that is super good. Thank you. I will show you again to my sweater, Juliana, for that the people that now connected in the live, you can watch. This is Juliana. This is the table that you will find on my pattern, step by step. Okay, my iPad is not so good, but will come again. Thank you, my dear iPad. Look, this is the fantasy stitch that we will make. Look, I use to make this pattern the needles 4,50 millimeters. Oh, no, 6,50 millimeters because the ribbon yarn was a little thick or thick. Look, this is the rib stitch. I made 14 rows of the rib stitch. This is the original when I made. And from centimeters, I had approximately 8 centimeters. Look, you can see here the knit stitch. In the rib stitch, you don't notice the purl stitch because it's a stretch. So let me see here. Until that. Okay, this is the first row of the knit stitch. Of rib, sorry, I confused. En español, punto elástico. You will learn Spanish too here. You can watch my filage, maybe you can watch my videos in Spanish and you will understand a little. Okay, for all the people that learned the knitting, when we make here the knit stitch, in the opposite is in the reverse is the opposite. So knit, and here will be the purl stitch. And when we make a purl stitch, he will be in the reverse the knit stitch. Okay, we'll make out. We continue, chicas. The second row, la segunda hilera. We find again one knit stitch. Why? Because the last in the reverse was, in the another side was, the last stitch was a purl stitch. So always we will beginning for the front and the reverse with one knit stitch. Look, the knit stitch we bring, and this go out. We pull a little for that our border is uniform. We bring the yarn and we begin to make one purl, one knit, one purl, one knit. We will calculate with this little pattern how many stitches I need for my large size, by example. One large size is 50 centimeters of wide and 50 centimeters of long. This sweater has not increases, has not decreases. We make all with the same stitches that we begin. The knit stitch, the purl, we bring the yarn. We have another yarn was together with my yarn. The knit, the purl, en español, punto derecho, punto revés. We finish always with the reverse. We pull, look, for the border is uniform. One tip, when the yarn of the begin is in the right side, to me, this is the front of the work. Look, this is like the first row is like an autumn, and into the reverse is like lines. To me, it's nice, this front. Natürlich, claro, sure, you can use the side that you prefer. Okay, I will see who writes. Emina Walter Rodrigo de Souza. Hola, Walter. Welcome to my channel. Thank you to be here. Muchas gracias. So, we have now 2 rows. We made 2 rows. Look how you can count 1 and 2. I don't count the first because this is the first where are the cannot is the stitches that we made on the needle. So we continue. First always will be the knit and purl, punto derecho, punto revés, punto derecho, revés, derecho, revés, derecho, revés, derecho, revés. Revés is like reverse for us in Spanish. Revés is reverse in Spanish. Punto derecho, derecho is something like derecho has a lot of means. Un montón de significados. So when we make the knit and the purl stitch, our waistband will be stretched. You can use this stitch for all. Thank you for your like. Look the difference of this yarn that I use for my sweater Juliana with this yarn. Look the difference. You can use all the yarns you can make with cotton, with acrylic. This yarn, the ribbon, I think was 80% cotton and 20 acrylic, I think. You can, on the pattern, I showed you the yarn. So we continue. Always the first stitch, it will be the knit stitch because we have even number. We begin with the knit stitch and we finish the row with the purl stitch. This is a sweater that you can make for winter, maybe with yarn, with wool, and the only is at the end you can make the slips. You can make the stitches from the armhole and you have a nice pullover. I will show you another sweaters that I have here on my channel. Here we have 22 stitches. Look the rib stitch. Look, the purl stitch is like a canot and the knit is plano. Look. I make the light. Look, this is the knit stitch and the purl. So the combination of these two stitches, the purl and the knit, make that our work is stretch. I have, by example, I made this like, I don't know, is the name, mitones is in Spanish. I made this in knitting. This is the rib stitch, punto elástico. I don't know if I have this pattern in English, but now you can watch with subtitles in English. I will let you, if I find this pattern that I made in English, I will let you on the comments too and on the description box. So I will make some rows for I showed you the another stitches. I use only the knit stitch. I don't know the name. In Espanol is jersey stitch. Which is the jersey stitch? The jersey stitch is the knit stitch for the front and in the reverse the purl stitch. Can be Stockinette stitch. This is one of my Liebling hobbies. Liebling is in German. Preferidos en español. Or lovely hobby. We pull for that the border is uniform. Look, when you watch here in the border, that the stitches are like this, that are not so big, it's not so loose, the needle is correct. But sometimes when you use a hook or needle number 5 or number 6, this border will be super loose. That means that this is not a correct needle for this yarn. Here is a little loose, but not so much. This is one tip. One moment. Thank you for your like. I will drink my water, my tea. Here in Germany, we have a tea, super lecker, super rico. It's with anise, Kümmel, and Fenchel. I love these teas. Okay, we continue. So, now we are for the reverse. Look, the lines here down. And we continue. First stitch, I pull a little for that my border is uniform. Reverse o pull stitch, revés en español, derecho. Revés, derecho. Revés, derecho. On my sweater, Juliana, I made 14 rows of this rib stitch. After this, I begin with the fantasy stitch. Thank you for your like. Muchas gracias. Knit stitch and pull a stitch. If you are new in knitting, you can use the needles a little gross, not so teeny, for that you can learn little to little the stitches. The classic stitches are these, the knit and the pull stitch. And look, you only watch the knit stitch. The pull is in the back. For this is like a rib stitch. So if we make like this, by example, it's super stretch, but we make like this. Let me see how many centimeters. I will read your email, your comment. We have here almost 9 centimeters. But when we make like this, look, from 9 to 12. For this, my sweater has 38 centimeters, but when we pull, it's almost 50 centimeters. I will show you again. Bensakur Amina, Bo me faté pensar a mamá. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Yeah, this tenising is for me to, I think, automatic in my mama too. With this. This is my sweater. Sometimes my iPad is 1 second like this, and later it's okay. Let me see. Sorry. This is the rib stitch, and this is the fantasy stitch. Look. Between this fantasy stitch, I made only the stockinette stitch. I think it's the stockinette. And look, I made approximately 8 centimeters of long of the waistband. Look. It's very nice and easy. You can make with all the yarns. Now I will make out this. So I will make one pair of rows more for before we begin with the fantasy stitch. We begin, look, one knit, I pull a little for that the border is uniform. Revés, derecho, revés, derecho, revés. When we make the reverse, we must have the yarn in the front, and when we make the knit, we have the yarn in the back or on the back. With this technique, you can make boleros, ponchos, you can make scarves. The borders are more important, that are nice when we make some Beispiel, by example, when we make one scarf. The traditional scarf, because the borders you will see quickly. But in a sweater, we will sew. We turn. Now I am into the reverse, and from here, the first always will be the knit stitch, the purl, and we repeat only. With this stitch, you can make 2 headbands, scarves, until blankets too, I think. So, okay, derecho, revés. What happens if you lost one stitch? Okay, I will lost one stitch for show you how you recover. Okay, by example, this reverse. What happened? Oh God, I lost my stitch. What can I make? Okay, we can make with the same stitches. We catch and we help us with the fingers. Here, from the reverse, I bring the yarn again through the stitch. Again, we must have the stitch in the back. And from the back, we insert into the stitch and we help us through the stitch. And again, look with the finger, you help, open the stitch, and this yarn must be inside and ready. We save the stitch. This is with the purl stitch. I will show you too with the knit stitch. It's easier with the knit stitch. Wait, I will show you. By example, this knit stitch. We lost. Oh God, no, my stitch. Okay, we catch support quickly. And we open and we catch the yarn. I save one. I must save these 2. Again, we save the second. And look, this is the yarn that must be inside of the stitch. And ready. We save the stitches. And we continue. This is the way that you can save your stitches. Esa es la manera que puedes salvar tus puntos, your stitches, tus puntos. And we finish here the reverse of the work. For the front, I will begin to make the fantasy stitch. But here you can calculate, by example, here I have 8 centimeters, but remember that we'll open. We can open until 10, by example. 10 centimeters. You can open more, but I don't want that destroy my my stitches. So I will calculate. We have paper and we will see. Hello, my dear Beatriz. Thank you to be here. Hola, Citizen Sayabon. Thank you. Ona Canova. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, chicas. Muchas gracias. To calculate, look. We have here 22 stitches. And these 22 stitches are approximately, when we open, maybe more, 12 centimeters. It's 12 centimeters approximately. If I want 50 centimeters, 50 centimeters is approximately one large size. So 12 one time, 24 two times, 36 and 48, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So 22 stitches. 4 times, 4 por 2, 8, 2 por 4, 8, 88 stitches. It will be with this yarn and with these needles. My sweater Juliana has 80 stitches, but I made with the needle number 6,50 millimeters. This is with the needle 4 millimeters. Thank you for your like. Muchas gracias. 43 likes. Thank you, chicas. Thank you, chicos. Muchas gracias. Bensalur et moi. Fata San. Hello. Thank you to be here. Okay, now I will begin with the stockinette stitch or jersey stitch, like I say in Spanish. I must make 4 rows of jersey. How is this? When you have the size of your rib stitch, of your waistband that you prefer, we will begin with the jersey stitch. How is the jersey stitch? It's the knit stitch for the front and the purl stitch for the reverse. Only this. Look, we begin. In all the stitches only I will make the knit stitch, el punto derecho. We stop the waistband, we stop the rib stitch. Only we will use the knit stitch, punto derecho. Punto derecho. This is en español el punto derecho. Thank you for your like. We are 43 likes. Muchas gracias. I have the workshops every day here on my channel. When we finish, we turn. I try to make always jets, or now in the weeks, Monday to Friday, my old and my new patterns. Okay, in the reverse only we will make the purl stitch. Purl stitch, punto revés en español. You must practice. Revés. La R, the R for uns, for us in Spanish is strong. By example, car, carro. Something with R in the knitting. Knitting is dos agujas en español, by example. Tricot, dos agujas. So, we finish now the stitches. And look, this is the reverse. This is the purl stitch, punto revés. And we turn, and look, this is the knit stitch, punto derecho. To me, this stitch is, the name is jersey, we say. I think for you in English is stockinette, I think. I hope. Okay, I will make 4 rows like my sweater, okay? This is the 3rd row. Always when I change the stitches, I made always in the front of my work. This is a ruler to me. But you can make the variations like you prefer. So I will let you the pattern of Juliana on the comments and on the description box when I finish this workshop. And thank you to this lady that yesterday she write me and tell me that she want to watch a knitting knitted sweater. Yesterday we made a crocheted sweater. Okay, again we involve and we make the purl stitch in all the row. This sweater you can finish really rápido. En español, quickly, rápido. Gracias, thank you. Thank you, gracias. You're welcome, con mucho gusto. You're welcome. Por favor, please, por favor. The basic words in Spanish are importante. Okay, we finished the 4 rows. How you can count the rounds or the rows, hileras en español. Look, it's easy. You see the knit that is from the rib stitch and you can count 1, 2, 3, and 4. We turn and look. One tip, if you want that your rib stitch is more tight, you can change for a teeny needle. By example, you can make with the number 3 and the body you can make with the number 4. For that the knit stitch or the rib stitch is a little tight. This is one tip that I give you. But in my sweater, Juliana, I made it with the same needles. All the work, I made it with the same. I want to show you how many minutes we have. 48. Thank you, chicos. Muchas gracias for your like. This is Juliana. If you want maybe you want not a off shoulder, only you close more the shoulders. This sweater has not increases, not decreases. The fantasy stitch, I made 4 rows of the stockinette and later, now I will show you this fantasy stitch. In another photo is more, you can notice more. Where is? Thank you for your like, chicas. Muchas gracias. Now I will show you the fantasy stitch, but I want to see here in my computer where is the video. Subscriptions and here, okay. Okay, now I will begin with the fantasy stitch. Look. Hello, my dear Hapu. Thank you to be here. Okay, I will make the fantasy stitch between I will repeat or I will alternate these 4 rows with the fantasy stitch. How is? The first stitch we make 1 time and 2 times. Again, for the front of the word, chicas, look, for the front we will make this always. 1 time, 2 times. We make the knit stitch, but not 1 time, we make 2 times. This will make that our stitch is a little open and it's more easy to advance the work too. Thank you so much for your like, chicas, chicos. Muchas gracias en español, thank you. Thank you so much es muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Gracias is thank you. Okay, we make the last stitches 2 times, 2 times, and the last 2 times. We pull a little. I will make this out. And now we finish the first row of this fantasy stitch. We turn the knitted work. Volteamos el tejido a palitos, a 2 agujas or tricot. And now we will let the stitch, you will see. And I will make in the purl stitch the same. The first we make 2 times and we let the boat. Again, we insert from right to the left 2 times and we let free the stitches. Dejamos libres los puntos. Soltamos los puntos. We let free. Soltamos. And I made the purl stitch 2 times. Look, 1, 2. These are only 2 rows that we must make for the front and the back and ready. After this, we alternate with the stockinette stitch, the 4 rows of the knit stitch for the front and the purl stitch in the reverse and ready. You will make the long of your sweater that you prefer. 50 centimeters is approximately one large size, one XL, maybe 52, another bigger, maybe 54 of long, and so on. The last stitch, look, we make 2 times the last stitch and we let free. We pull and look. What do you think? With this yarn is a nice sweater. Huh? I like this yarn, cotton yarn. Hilo de algodón, cotton, algodón, Baumwolle in German. Baumwolle, cotton, algodón en español. Okay? And now we repeat the 4 rows of the stockinette stitch. Look. We let free 2 the stitches. Sometimes it's more easy in crochet make fantasy stitch, but with this stitch in knitting, it's easy too. I made this fantasy stitch when I was a young teenager. I think I made a summer sweater in Lima, in Peru. I come from Lima, from Peru, and was so nice. My sweater, I remember that was from beige color. Beautiful. Was with this yarn, something like this. But This was when I was a teenager. Okay, we let free all the stitches. And look now. These needles I bought here in Germany. But I noticed that are not so comfortable. One, you can use some hours, but when you make something, it's a little pain. So I prefer use the another. I have not here my another needles, but it's a little Schmerzen is in German. It's a pain a little, so I don't recommend. I don't like so much. I made for this for make the pattern here in front of the camera, but for use, I don't recommend this. Okay, again we make the reverse or the purl stitches. So now we alternate from the fantasy stitch with the 4 rows of the stockinette stitch. Punto jersey en español. For me, to me is the jersey stitch. This pattern, on my pattern, I show you step by step. You will see how I made my sweater. You must make 2 pieces the same for the front and the back without increases or decreases. And then when you finish, I made the rib stitch when I had the long. I made again the rib stitch, but not so many rows. I made to the end in the shoulder. I made only 6 rows of the rib stitch. Here in the front, I made, or in the beginning, in the waistband, I made 14 rows for the rib stitch. Now I will make again. Thank you for your like. I never saw 65 likes in my life, in my workshop. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Like this, I will make every day. I try to make every day my workshop, but sometimes I must make things. So when I cannot make my workshop, I will post in Instagram or on my Facebook or here in the publication. I will let you one pattern when I cannot have my workshop in live. We turn the knitted work. And we make the last 4 row of the stockinette stitch. Stockinette stitch is the knit in the front and the purl stitch in the back. You must make 2 pieces the same with the same number of stitches in the beginning, the same number of the rib stitch, and the same number of rows of this fantasy stitch. You can make longer or short your sweater. Sweater en español too, and blusa, jersey, remera. We have a lot of names in Spanish. You know, we have a lot of countries that speak Spanish, so every country had the name. Okay, look how is. Now I made the 4 rows. You can watch here, you can count 2 and 4. And I will make again the fantasy stitch. But first this yarn is a little enredada. Este hilo se enreda rápido. Ya está, ready. Hola, Happy Vibes, Bella. Muchas gracias. Hola, bienvenida. Again, the fantasy stitch, chicas. For the front, you know where is the front. We insert and we make 2 times the knit or the yarn into the needle. 2 times, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. You can make 3 times. You can make the number of the rows that you prefer, but always try to make the same numbers that you make for that is uniform your work. I made always 4 rows with the stockinette and only 2 rows with this fantasy stitch. That is only make 2 times the yarn on the needle. To me, to make knitting is relax. This is my first technique that I learned, and for this I love to knitting. We turn the knitting work, and again 2 times the yarn on the needle, and we let free the stitches. If you make this stitch too, is very quickly that you will have ready your sweater. I promise. Because it's a big stitch when we make 2 times the yarn. I have a blanket here with knitting that I love. Is with the squares. I alternate squares of knit and pour stitches. I will let you this pattern. It's super nice. This blanket was a baby blanket that I made here to give a present for a friend. And I will let you this pattern on the comments and on the description box. Look. It's very nice. With this yarn and with these needles, the number 4, I think is perfect. I will show you again. Thank you, my dear Sandra. Qué linda. Thank you, my dear Sandra John. Thanks for sharing. The pattern is gorgeous. Muchas gracias. Thank you, thank you. I want to show you my knitted pattern that I will let you on the comments. This is the blanket. I make first all the little squares with knit and pour, 10 in every square. At the end, when I finish all the blanket, I made these borders. But you can make the borders in the beginning too. When you have the size, you don't need to make it at the end. This is my tip. And here in this size, you can continue making this is the garter stitch. You can make the garter stitch first, and later you begin with the squares. I will let you this pattern on the comments and on the description box. I love this blanket. I made a lot to give a present for my family and friends. You can make with all the colors too. Hola, qué bonito. Oye, ¿esa parte qué es? ¿La manga? No, esto es... ¿cómo estás? Hola, Violeta. Esto es una muestra pequeña de mi suéter. Les he enseñado el paso a paso, ¿no? Pero como manga también queda muy bonito. Tienes razón. Pero voy a hacer mis suéteres aquí chiquitos para después mostrarles cómo es el grande. Gracias, Violeta. My dear Violeta asked me if this is a slips. And I say, no, this is not a slips. It's a little pattern of my sweater, Juliana. Gracias, my dear Violeta. Okay, after that we made again the fantasy stitch, we must make again the stockinette stitch. So we let free again the stitches, look. And we make only the first row of the knit stitch, punto derecho en español. Pur stitch, punto revés. Repite, revés. You will say, Maricita, teach me a little Spanish too. Muy bien, very good, muy bien. When somebody tells you something in Spanish, you will say, muy bien. Hasta la vista, chicos. We pull the last stitch and we turn. And you can alternate the rows that you prefer until that you have 50, 60 centimeters. My sweater, I made it only with 39 centimeters. Was a little, really. Now, my tip is that you can make a little longer. My tip. Sure, you can make the 40 centimeters that I made, 39, 40 centimeters, you can make like my sweater too. But now, my tip, it will be that you can make 50 centimeters of long, approximately, with the waistband, with the border at the end. Hola, Quimeta, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenida. Yo tengo mis workshops de español también en las tardes, así que me puedes encontrar también de lunes a viernes en mi canal Maricita Colors en español. Pero aquí también eres bienvenida. Gracias, mi querida Quimeta. Un abrazote hasta España. Gracias. Thank you. Okay. You can alternate the fantasy stitches or the stitches. You can alternate the 4 and the 2 until that you have the long. And some Beispiel, by example, here I have 12 centimeters. When I finish my sweater, I made this fantasy stitch, and after this I begin with the rib stitch. I made for the border in the shoulder, I made only I think 6 rows of the rib stitch. You must make 2 pieces the same, and at the end we sew here in the shoulder and another shoulder. We let place here. I will show you how many minutes. We have 68 minutes. So I want to show you. I will make a little schnell quickly, okay? Are only 22 stitches, this little pattern. This is my favorite technique for this. I am a little quickly. I will show you how. Tomorrow, I will show you how I close the stitches, okay? I will try to make another little pattern and how I made how I finish this sweater, Juliana. The name of this sweater is of the daughter of one friend, from my friend Olenka, that lives here in Germany. She is from Peru too. And she has a daughter that is Juliana. And always I forget the name of Juliana. So one day I say, okay, I will make one pattern and I will give the name of your doctor for that I don't forget never. So I don't forget never the name of Juliana. Okay, now zum Beispiel, by example, I must make the fantasy stitch. So we will make the fantasy stitch again. And after this fantasy stitch, I will begin the rib stitch. Okay, the fantasy stitch is only two times the yarn on the needle and into the next row we will let free the stitches and ready. Tomorrow I will show you how I finish this little pattern, okay? I will show you too how we close the fantasy or the stitches. I make two times the yarn on the needle and we make only knit stitches, puntos derechos en español. Thank you for your like. We have 85 likes today. I will make more knitting patterns. I love knitting, so. Okay, the reverse of the purl stitch, two times, dos veces, two times, dos veces, dos veces, dos veces en español, two times. Una vez, one time, una vez. And on my sweater, I begin to make, for the shoulders, for the neck, I made the rib stitch again, but I made vinegar or less stitches or rows of the rib stitch for the shoulder or the neck. You will see step by step on my pattern, but now I show you almost all. We pull and we finish. Now, on my sweater, Juliana, after that I finish the fantasy stitch, for the front, always for the front, chicas, I began the rib stitch. Look, we will make the rib stitch. One knit, we let free, one pull, let free. One knit, one pull. One knit and one pull. This is the rib stitch. This sweater has not increases or decreases, remember. I made only with the same number of stitches. That was 80 stitches with the needle 6,50 millimeters. That's or this you can watch on the pattern, the step by step. To find my patterns, you can write knitted sweaters Maricita or crocheted sweaters Maricita. I have almost 15 models free, pattern free here on my channel. And remember that now YouTube make the subtitles of my patterns in your language. We finish. And again the rib stitch. The rib stitch, when we make even number, always we will begin with the knit stitch. One knit, one pull. One knit, one pull. Un punto derecho, derecho, revés. Derecho, revés. Derecho, revés. Okay, 74 minutes. Today I think was my record. But I think that I show you almost all. I try always to show you step by step. This is important to me. Derecho, revés, derecho y terminamos con un punto revés. Yeah, this is like one sleeps. Look, like one sleep is very nice too. So tomorrow I will show you how I finish this little pattern, okay, of my knitted sweater Juliana. But I will let you the pattern on the comments, on the description box. And you can find me too on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. This is the ribbon, no? For us in español es cinta. It's a little be gold. It's very nice. ¿Qué pasa? Okay, my dear friends. Today we had a nice pattern that I will let you in the comments. Before I finish this workshop, I want to invite you to subscribe here on my channel, Maricita Colors in English. It's total free. Remember, activate the bell to receive the post when I have a workshop, a new short or video here on my channel. You can find me and follow me too on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. And ready. Tomorrow I will show you to close the stitches, okay? Muchas gracias, my dear friends. We see us tomorrow. Thank you very much to Aaron, Sashin Dagard, Crochet Comcha, Emina Panzo, Walter Rodrigo, Bensakura Mina, Janel Watson. Thank you, Maria Kemska, Auna, Oana Canova, Stitch Hisom, Beatriz Mansour, Bedal, Bensakur, Amina Hapu, Benta Wasmi, Happy Vibes. Thank you, Sandra John. Thank you, Violeta, Herna, Happy Vibes, Sunita Meta. Thank you. And my friend Kimeta. Muchas gracias, my dear friends. And tomorrow we find out to close the stitches. And I will show you how I finish my little pattern of my crocheted sweater Juliana. I would let you the patterns on the comments and description box. Muchas gracias. And we see us tomorrow. Chao, chao. Gracias. Hasta la vista, amigos.